I thought Steve Bisciotti's press conference yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, or 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Very fascinating. I thought he was very subtly explaining to the media and explaining to Lamar Jackson, we got you figured out, bro. And I thought it was somewhat of a stern warning to Lamar, and somewhat of like, hey, we're framing up the parameters, and I don't want to hear a discussion about did Lamar hire the head coach, participate. Anyway, I want to play this mashup of different things Steve Bisciotti said related to Lamar Jackson, and then get your reaction. Play the clip.
Lamar is really, really a non-confrontational person. When they call me up from Florida, you better get your ass up here too. Because if you want to do the interviewing, these are going to be full-day meetings like they were 18 years ago. And they go from department to department to department, right? So I said to Lamar, you can jump on my plane or find another way to get up there. But if you're that interested, then we're going to get a schedule. He's going to call me up. He's going to offer you the same luxury. And I said, I hope you take it.
Are you 100% sold that you want him to be the central figure in the organization for the foreseeable future?
I want him to be my quarterback, but he has no power. I have the power.
Shaun, what do you make of those comments?
I think it's needed, not just for Lamar, but I think across the landscape. Like, I get player empowerment, but I also get reality. Like, because you're the president of a company, you don't get to dictate to the person that owns the company, you know, how the company's going to move. You can make a suggestion. You can try and make yourself so valuable that the owner decides that your opinion has a certain level of importance, but this, I don't like what's going on. I'm going to complain about it. Mentality that exists in pro sports, and I'm talking about across the board, whether it be baseball, basketball, football. Sometimes you're complaining about something that you really don't want to lose. Here's the thing with Harbaugh. Harbaugh kind of let y'all run it like y'all wanted to run it. Now, on the field, y'all didn't hold up y'all end of the bargain. Right, wrong, and different. But you don't know who you're getting in there next. And it might be good for you. Think about what Ben Johnson has done for Caleb Williams. And I know for a fact that Caleb, boy, he pushed back a little bit because he's kind of gotten his way at Oklahoma, at SC, you know, with the initial staff. Ben pushed back. And even though Caleb's not a finished product, look at him elevating, starting to mature, starting to use we, us, instead of I. You know, so maybe that's what Lamar and the Ravens need. But you also better be prepared for it.
How do you think Lamar will react to perhaps a sterner head coach and organization?
We'll find out. Unlike Caleb, he's already got 2 bags. He's got 2 MVPs, you know? So I've always said, I think, and, you know, this is just me analyzing what I see from a distance. I think greatness stopped being his number one priority. And I think he got distracted in other pursuits. And the hardest position in all of professional sports is quarterback in the National Football League. Like, you've got to reinvent yourself every offseason if you want to stay at the top. The minute that you get complacent, they start to catch up. You start to miss little things that you used to make. You know, your edge, it dulls just a little bit. Like, because when you're the big dog, we talking about 2-time MVP in the last 3 years, right? Not counting who's going to win this year. When you're the big dog, guess what them coordinators are doing in the offseason? They watching. They okay, what does he do well? Does he like to throw the ball in the middle of the field to the left, the right, or right to left? Okay, when he exits the pocket, like they're looking at all of that. And they try to put you in positions to do things that they don't think you're good at. And if you're not as focused about continuing to make your floor higher and closer to your ceiling, then you start to get inconsistency. And I think that's what we saw from Lamar this year. And hopefully this is a reawakening and he resets and goes back to chasing greatness like he was right before he got that initial big-time deal.
And so you feel like the priority went from greatness to what?
Celebrity. Start being in commercials, you start everywhere you go, everybody knows who you are, like you don't even realize you're doing it either, Jason. That's the thing. So unless you got some strong people around you, because you went through it, I went through it, where we finally reached the pinnacle of what our initial dream looked like. And then, okay, I got this. I got here, I got this. And, 2 years later, it ain't, popping, like it was popping. And unless you got somebody standing, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrupt you. I'm sorry, God. Jesus, man, what's going on in here? Unless you got somebody around you to like really hold you accountable and say, hey, this ain't you. Let's get back refocused. I mean, it happens. It's a human form we live in.
And this is more big picture than just where we'll start. LaShawn McCoy, Shady McCoy, had something interesting he said about Jalen Hurts. Shady obviously played in Philadelphia, feels like he still has connections, and had some really provocative thoughts about what's hurting Philadelphia and some weaknesses as it relates to Jalen Hurts. Let's play the clip.
Jalen Hurts, I gotta be honest, man. Like,
Oh,
Jalen Hurts, I need you to be special. Make plays. And then, like, I did a lot of digging, man. And I won't throw them under the bus here, but I know some people, right? And the problem is we can't do different exotic looks, different formations, different motions, because I'm hearing that he can't really do it.
pretty provocative. I think LaShawn is actually being honest. I think he heard that from someone in Philadelphia. Your reaction?
I thought this was a really lazy take by LaShawn. And I like LaShawn McCoy. I think he's one of the more underappreciated players in National Football League history. When you talk about elite running backs, very rarely does his name come up. And I think he was. I think he was a transcendent talent. But I think this is a lazy take because he does not provide the context that is critical to Jalen Hurts' development. He has not had consistency at coordinator. They have had 4 different offenses the last 4 years in Philly. Shane Steichen left to go to the Colts. They promoted Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson got fired. They hired Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore left to go to the Saints. This is what, Josh Grizzard, I think. So that's 4 different coordinators in 4 years. To have that kind of change and still make it to 2 Super Bowls, win 1, MVP, deserving. Like, I don't know how people keep throwing stones and rocks at this kid. That's hard to do. And for those that don't understand what I'm talking about, instead of spending the offseason self-evaluating, going to the next step in the offense, becoming more complex, you're spending the offseason learning a new system, new verbiage. What does this coordinator like? This coordinator's trying to figure out what you do well, what you don't do well. Like, so he's never gotten to go into year 2 of a system. So I think that plays a big role in why, maybe some of the formations, the looks are as stagnant as they are because it's new. Like, people never think about that. Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, Kellen Moore. Now, I think it's Josh Grizzard was the guy that they just fired. That was OC this year, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, check me on that. But nobody talks about that when you're talking about Jalen
Kevin
Hurts.
Patullo Patullo, I think, was the OC.
Okay, Patullo.
Didn't they just fire him?
Okay, that was what it was. It wasn't Grizzard. But nobody talks about that. That's the last 4 years. 4 different OCs.
So this leads to my bigger picture point that I think we talked about on Tuesday. My belief is, more so than Jalen Hurts, the RPO, the run-pass option offense, is running out of steam. It's no different than any of the other innovations that come in, from the Wildcat to the run and shoot back when you were a little kid. They all have a shelf life. And I think the RPO offense is having a shelf life that's starting to expire. Defensive coordinators have figured it out, and this is why offenses are so bad or inconsistent right now.
I think what the defenses have done is figured out how to make it great for the quarterback. and they're also teaching guys to try and deflect a lot of balls. Have you noticed like an uptick in deflected balls? Quarterbacks, D linemen getting their hands up, guys jumping, the run fitter, instead of just fitting the run. Once the quarterback pulls it, he stops, he jumps. They've figured out how to make that extremely cloudy. And I think offensively what's happened is coaches don't like not being in control of the run-pass balance. And when you're a heavy RPO-based team, guess who controls the run-pass balance? The quarterback. Because we're calling all these runs, right? RPO means run, pass, option. So this is a call run play, and the pass option is designed if they've got an unblocked defender for the quarterback to pull it and then throw the pass option. When elite running backs like LaShawn McCoy, Saquon Barkley, what are they taught, Jason? Just get me to the unblocked guy, and I'll handle him. And so that's why I think you're starting to see some of these teams go back to just call runs, because they want that run-pass balance, and they want, when you have an elite running back, I want to get Jahmyr Gibbs matched up on their safety one-on-one as many times as I can, as opposed to Jared Goff pulling the ball, trying to throw the Tesla, in a tight window on a slant. So I think that's what you're starting to see.